My name is Raj. I'm a wellness coach and also an innovator of the 3-3 Insomnia hack. And we're bringing this to a new technology to people to help them overcome insomnia, stress, anxiety, and ADHD. It's fun, it's exciting, and this episode will probably rock your world.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Online Prosperity Show. I'm your host, Prosper Taruvinga. And on today's episode, we're going to be diving deep into the pressing challenges that a lot of us face, and that is sleeping. Now, for some of us that are tuning in for the very first time, insomnia is something that bothers a lot of people, entrepreneurs, parents, teachers, and kids alike. And today we're going to be looking at the breakthrough solutions that our guest is going to be bringing us, and this will help you heal, grow, and thrive. Now, our guest today is Raj Khedun. Now, Raj, how are you doing, my man?
I'm very well, Prosper. That's a very nice introduction, and looking forward to see how this conversation unfolds. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, the pleasure is all mine. I stayed up all night for this particular episode, so hopefully you're going to help me go to bed. Absolutely. Now, for those that are tuning in, Raj Khedun is he's a force to be reckoned with. He tackles burnout, chronic stress, anxiety, and sleepless head on with something that he calls the 3-3 Metaverse Breathing Method. Did I say that right, Raj?
Yes. It's also got an AKA the 3-3 Insomnia hack as well, because it also can help in a very focused way with insomnia and sleeping disorders. But yeah, that's more or less right.
Absolutely. We're going to be diving into that. It's simple, it's fast, and also clinically grounded. And it does help people nod off in 30 to 90 seconds. Now, wouldn't that be nice? A lot of us are not able to sleep until the wee hours of the morning while we're scrolling through the endless news that is happening on the internet. So as you have already established, this is the number one place to get exclusive insights into Raj's methods and also his mindset. And if you're maybe battling insomnia, anxiety, or maybe life is feeling a little bit overwhelming right now, I don't know, with things that are happening in the world, I encourage you to stay tuned. We're going to unpack Raj's journey from the pivot that he did during the pandemic to now him healing his clients and also his signature hack and why this topic matters right now. Now, Raj, people call you the manager at Keep Fit Kingdom, and I'm probably convinced that you're actually should be called the sleep wizard. I mean, what do you think of that term moving forward?
That's yeah. I mean, they're hobbies and they're passions of mine in terms of wellness and health. But if I can dial you back a tiny bit to my sort of Genesis backstory, just to give a bit of context, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So thanks. So the reason I'm telling this is because when we're children, we all have dreams. I really believe that we all have dreams. You all want to do something significant. We all want to be someone. We all want to make a big impact on the world. We want to be an astronaut, a doctor, run the country, be president, whatever. I believe that all kids come in with some kind of dream, some kind of vision, something. And I think, relating this story, I just hope that people will reignite their passion that they had as kids. And try to grab onto that technicolor, amazing dream that we all have. So it all started when I was 3 years old. My mother takes me to nursery or kindergarten in London, where I was born. And we get enrolled, we look at the playgrounds, the classrooms and everything. We end up in the library, right, in the kindergarten. And for some strange reason, my hand gravitated towards two books, which I pulled off the bookshelf. One was about dinosaurs. The other one was about planets. So I didn't touch the Thomas the Tank Engine or the Mr. Happy, Mr. Sad books and all that. I didn't touch that. It was these two, dinosaurs and planets. And the funny thing is, these images stuck in my mind more deeply than my entire education did. And they guided my entire inner narrative and gravitation towards these subjects more so than the secular education we normally get in the Western world.
Right.
And you think, okay, why? Well, I was always wondering, how do animals evolve like dinosaurs? How do they become more sentient? How do they express more intelligence? How do they become more feeling? How do they cooperate more? Like you have dolphins, you have dogs, you have elephants. They're very cooperative. They understand each other. They have communication skills. I always wondered, how does that intelligence expand? How does that happen? Because it's an invisible organization that we don't see. But then I started to think, well, how can humans expand their intelligence? Can they do it? Can they open up the brain cells, or the 90% of the brain capacity they never use in life? So, of course, the answer is yes. You can develop your brain. You can evolve yourself. You can, by self-willing and consistency and regular practice, you can expand your awareness and your consciousness and your understanding and intelligence of yourself and the world and humankind. That's what philosophers down the ages have been doing and advising us. So with that, I looked at the planets and I wondered, why are there these great planets there, like Jupiter, spinning at 47,000 kilometers per hour, right? It's the biggest planet. It can hold 1,300 planet Earths inside it, yet it spins so fast. I'm thinking, okay, what's happening with this? It must be generating a lot of energy, right? To spin that fast. It's been doing that for the last 4.6 billion years. So what is it actually impacting in terms of humanity, the Earth, human life? I started asking all these questions at a very young age. So you've got, planets like Saturn with a beautiful ring formation. You've got Mercury, you've got Venus, you've got Mars. Now, if you go on YouTube, you can go and have a look at what Mars looks like, because you've got the NASA robots exploring it. So you can see the sky is red, the ground is red, rocky red, but there's no water, there's no plants, there's no dinosaur bone remains of any kind, right? So why is there an empty planet with Mars, and Earth right next to it is full of life? From top to toe, in the sky, in the sea, on the land, full of life, yet Mars is empty. How does that make sense? So I started questioning these things when I was very young. So I hope that gives you a tiny bit of a backstory into how I've come here.
Absolutely. You see, the fascinating thing about all of this is, like you said, other kids would have been looking at Thomas the Tank, and I was also just trying to picture my now 6-year-old who would have been looking at Peppa Pig and Bluey, and I'm just thinking to myself, wow, this must have been a really different kid that people had to deal with here. But usually the apple doesn't fall that far from the tree. Had you been exposed to some of these learnings or teachings at that particular age, maybe by way of parents or by way of environment and things of that nature, so that at least we can start off of an even keel?
Well, that was, I think everyone has something unique. So even, everyone's imagination and their mind, we all have a mind, but the contents, what you resonate with, your vibrations, your frequencies, can be very different from your own family members.
Right.
So this became an abiding interest for me. And then like a magnet, like a magnet brings iron filings towards it of the same nature, of the same kind. So I was resonating with these ideas from a young age, even though my family wasn't really.
Right.
It just so happened that I was so curious and asking so many questions, which people would think, oh, that there's no answers for those questions. Don't bother. Why who am I? Why am I here? Where am I going? What happens when you die? How was this earth made? People said, oh, don't ask silly questions like that.
Right, right.
But for me, it wasn't silly. Yeah.
No, and thank you so much for bringing this up, because obviously there comes an age, especially when you're around about 3 years of age, you start asking those why questions, you know what I mean, and things of that nature, which is normal. But what was the sort of response from other kids? Because you're saying maybe the parents or the people that were around you were sort of saying, you don't ask those kind of questions, but you would have had to hang out around with other kids and maybe play with toy cars and things of that nature. And I don't think kids that age would have been also, yeah.
It was a mix, because when you're growing up in a materialistic society, you don't know what to think. Is this correct? Is the matter of fact materialistic life real, or is it not real? Is there purpose and meaning, or is there no purpose and meaning? Are you just a physical being of flesh and bone, or is there something way bigger than that? You have to come to this, you go through these experiences and you start to question and think, well, what if there is something higher? What if I am tuned into a higher frequency? Can I entertain that long enough to find out for myself? Most people, they lose touch with that because life, just comes in, and you have all life problems, and you may be married, you may not, you may have kids, you may have job issues, and all the different challenges we have in society. So a lot of the time that just encroaches on your awareness, and then you lose touch with your original curiosity as a child. So it was a mix of things. Okay. And I had to question deeply, like, is this narrative the correct one, or is it something that's been pre-programmed by humans, and now I have to navigate myself out of it to be free? Which one is it?
So it must have kept you up at night.
Oh, yeah. You're right. I actually studied Tibetan Buddhism from the age of 22 to 30 by myself at night, mostly after work. I would study for 4 or 5 hours every night, like a hermit, studying Tibetan Buddhist texts. I still have all the books here with the underlinings and all the notes and the footnotes and everything. I still have it. Yeah. You're right.
Absolutely. Now, you did mention between 22 and sort of 30. So obviously, we are now at a stage where you grew up, and these questions may not have been answered. What was it like in between, before you started studying there, like maybe high school days and maybe college days and things?
Well, the interesting thing is that you mentioned in school, what I did find interesting was biology. In terms of health, the body, how the organs work, how the brain works, how the muscles work, how the skeletal system works. I was very interested in that because I wanted to understand evolution and how the body is created and how you can use it to further your capacities and to do more and to have more energy. These things were very interesting to me. So I probably neglected history, geography, and some of those other subjects which I didn't personally find interesting, but I found all the biological science and humanities very interesting. So I stuck with those. So went through that schooling, learned a lot about the body, did a lot of sports, gymnastics, martial arts, weightlifting, all kinds of cardiovascular activities to understand how the body works, the immune system, the nervous system, and so on. But one pivotal thing happened to me when I was 18 years old. So I'm 18 years old. My mother takes me to India for the first time. And I'm to be honest, I'm very arrogant, and I'm very rude, and I'm obnoxious 18-year-old, right? Because I was brought up in London, right? And we have everything. So you don't have to work hard, you have everything, do whatever you want. But when I go to India, everything changes. Because I meet there an avatar. If you're familiar with the concept of an avatar, it means like a superhuman come into flesh, a superpower come into human form. That's what avatar means. So if you've seen James Cameron film Avatar, it was the biggest blockbuster ever many years ago.
Absolutely.
And Netflix have Avatar: The Last Airbender with all the shape-shifting powers and all that. And I thought that was all nonsense. Like, that was just like fantasy stuff, but actually it's real.
Mm. Okay. So this
Um,
avatar experience, maybe walk us through what that actually entails, because I'm only just seeing the blue people.
exactly, exactly. Well, when I go there, I meet this avatar, and he intimates to me that he knew why I picked those books off the bookshelf as a 3-year-old. So he knew what I knew and that I was going to unfold it all, but I didn't know that then. So he said, son, he addressed me as son. I know why you're here. You don't know why you're here. I'm the one who brought you here. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what are you saying? He says, you don't know anything, son. You don't know anything. You don't know who you are. You don't know why you're here. You don't know where you're going. You don't know what happens when you die. And you don't know how this earth was made. You know nothing. And I'm thinking to myself, oh yeah, so what did I go to school for? Just to pick up some, like, revise some content from books to study for exams. That's it. Nothing else. I didn't really know anything. And he was right. He said, son, you need to be humble. You need to humble yourself. You need to listen and learn. That flipped my life completely upside down.
I can imagine as a teenager, you probably, well, how was he dressed? Just so that I have a visual, because
Yeah,
then you would have been thinking, I'm a London boy, I go through the tube, I know how to, use a computer and things like that. What does this person know? I can download this information on the internet if I want
yeah,
to. So,
exactly. But he was wearing orange, a robe, like the color you're wearing right now. Orange robe. His name's Sai Baba. You can look him up on the internet. And his electromagnetic field, like if you understand the electromagnetism and auras, we all have a vibratory field around our body. And his was so huge, it's so unbelievably infinite that you could not be in his presence and remain unchanged. Impossible. And he said, the reason I'm here is to remind everyone that the law of the universe is unconditional love. It's the fabric that holds the whole universe together: kindness, compassion, forgiveness. And he said, if you don't understand that, you've missed the whole point of everything. And he said, I don't want my children to suffer. And I thought, why, if that's so important, why has that never been discussed in the Western school system where I've been brought up? He said, they don't want you to know, because when you know, you start using your mind and you become powerful and you'll start making changes in society. They don't want that. And I'm like, oh my God, you got to. He says, I don't gatekeep knowledge. Knowledge belongs freely to everybody. Yeah. No one is supposed to be suffering here. That's why he told the secret. He said straight to everybody, this is a secret. This is the law. You need to align yourself with that. Think about it. Think how it works. Understand how you behave. Understand how you treat other people. Understand how they treat you. Understand respect. Understand these things. And I was like, wow, if this was taught to all children from the beginning, this whole world would be such a much better place. All our kids would be knowledgeable, they'll be wise, they'll be healthy, they'll be strong, they'll do some great cause in the world to make humanity better. So I had to, it was a big slap in the face, if I'm honest.
I can imagine. At 18, you step into, like you say, an aura that really draws you in and changes you. I don't know if you had figured out your hormones by then, but also you might have just been thinking, I don't know, maybe this is one of those things that is happening to me. But the other people that were in the vicinity of that, or was it just you at that particular environment?
Hundreds of thousands of people would be there. But that doesn't matter. His power is infinite. Like, if you talk about, in India, they call Jesus an avatar. They call Buddha an avatar, because they have a certain power which transcends mortality. See, and they've realized that now while they're in the flesh. They don't have to wait till they die to realize that. And they're telling us you should imbibe those qualities now while you're alive, incarnate in a human body. So when you kind of, you understand these concepts, you're like, okay, I need to change my behavior. I need to change my thought process. I need to change the way my thought system is working, and my emotions will follow the way I think. When your emotions follow the way you think, your energy starts to resonate at that frequency and that vibration of what you're thinking. Right. And then things start to change, and then you communicate to other people to do likewise, and they do it and they benefit, and everyone benefits. It's a win-win all round. So yeah, I hope that helps to answer your question.
Oh, no, absolutely. Well, I'm just really intrigued because when you get a life-changing moment or episode like this, obviously it sticks with you, and you then relive it over and over and over again. And, it's just, my question now is, because the question he asked you was very specific to you and very particular to you. I just wanted to see how many people were at that particular event, so much that he would have singled you out and relay, your story and your journey and things like that. And what was the response? Did mom know what was happening, or was she also equally surprised, or did she have an idea?
Well, it's such a great question. What you're saying now opens up a whole potential can of worms, in the sense that these beings, they communicate telepathically.
Right.
They communicate telepathically in such a way, like everybody's had insights and epiphany moments in life where something hits you like out of the blue sky, and you're like, oh, it's so obvious. It's so clear now. I see it, right, within. So these avatars, they don't have to tell your story in public. They communicate with you telepathically, individually. So if you believe, so if you believe in a conscience, everybody has a conscience, right? You have a moral compass. Everyone has it. But whether you listen to it or not is another question. So, when you die, you're always going to be like showing your life review of what you did, what you thought, everything is recorded. So when you die, you don't want to say, oh, I didn't listen to that still small voice within, and I ignored it, and that's why my life turned out crap. You don't want to have that. You want to say, I listen to my conscience. I made time every day to listen within and understand how to navigate myself. So many people, my mother was curious. She was more like open-minded to philosophies and spirituality and things like that. And I think she was just curious. So I went along with her, but I didn't expect that the impact would be that significant.
So you went to India and you came back a changed man. Did London still look the same?
Yeah, absolutely. It's still the same. but I'm hoping that with more inspiration, I'm building a very nice team and network with full of people who are into self-development, into fulfilling their potential, into giving back into society to make the earth a better place than how it is right now. So we have to mix with like-minded people so that your vibrations don't get lost and diminished and then despondent and then discouraged and then give up. You've got to be around people who are thinking like you. Then you can reinforce that energy flow and keep it flowing and keep the momentum up and keep the consistency up. Then you can start to see real changes. So it's an evolution process, really.
Oh, absolutely. Now, you did hint on the fact that at 22, you started studying, being a monk or something of that nature. Walk us through, that evolution of now the man that had seen the light.
Yeah, so I wanted to internalize and stabilize this whole idea of what is unconditional love. Is if it's a universal principle and it's the most important thing, I'm thinking, why don't I know anything about it then? It's horrible to think that I'm so off alignment that I don't understand this. So I started to think and say, okay, well, I need to study, I need to ponder, I need to integrate this principle. So I studied Tibetan Buddhism for about 8 years, every night for like 2 or 3 hours a night after work. And the insights that I got from Buddhism was so incredible that the most important thing to understand as a human is the mind. And I would be at variance with society and think, how come no one talks about the mind? You go through your whole education system for 10 years, 12 years, 15 years. You never get one single hour of instruction of what the mind is. And I was thinking, why is that? If it's so important, why don't you get taught what the mind is? We all have one. So those were the deep insights that Buddhism taught me, that you have to focus on the mind. That's where the cause of all of your life, your circumstances, your karma is all hidden in the mind. Okay, then let me study that. So that just compounded over and over and over. And I begin to see things that most people probably don't see. You begin to understand that what you see around you is not what you think it is. People say it's air, it's oxygen. It's not. You say in school, they tell you in biology or in humanities, whatever, the biological sciences, that the Earth air is 21% oxygen, 5% nitrogen, 5% hydrogen, whatever. That's only a very small fraction of the truth. The real truth is this. This air that you live in, it's made of light, electricity, and magnetism. Light, electricity, and magnetism. But you never know that because you take it for granted that it's just air and I breathe and, I have infinite amount of breath. It's not. It's a power that you can pull into your nervous system and your immune system and change your entire life with it. It's the instrument of transformation. It's the power that allows you to access brain hormones that no one will ever tell you about and expand your consciousness within yourself.
But you haven't driven around the streets of Melbourne, you know what I mean, with all those cars, taking out all their gas and stuff like that, and all you can smell is burnt rubber and burnt chips in the if you walk past certain restaurants. So maybe that's why a lot of people don't have lunch in the city, because they already are filled up with that air from the the fryers in the city there. Is that what you're saying?
Well, not quite, but yeah, I can understand the analogy. So these things, I think, when you understand the power of electromagnetism, which is available to everyone, just don't have the access code, how to access it and bring it into your system. So you can't take advantage. It's like fish. They live in water all their lives. But if you ask them, what are you swimming in? They'll say, what are you talking about? They take it for granted.
Fish don't see the water they swim in.
Yeah, correct. So we don't see the air we live in. We live and breathe and have our being in this stuff, and we take it for granted because we never question it. And we don't know how it works. So we remain ignorant for our whole life. We're dead and buried, and we didn't realize that if you'd stopped and just taken it into yourself and learned how to do that, your whole life would be completely different, better. That's what we specialize.
I understand. And I mean, obviously, I was just talking about the burnt chips, just to bring this topic in a little bit easier.
Yeah.
If you really look at it from a vantage point of view, Wi-Fi is floating through the air in and out of our, us like that. You just stand on here. Where is that connection coming from? That means everything is just happening within us, your phone reception and things of that nature. And we are nowadays listening to Bluetooth earphones that are just plugged into our ears. Where is that all coming from? So maybe you can now start elaborating. I wanted to paint a picture to the viewer that they might actually be rolling their eyes so much back, and thinking, where is this conversation going? There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we had learned this as children, we wouldn't be so confused. But all around us intelligence is hidden there. All the knowledge you want. You think everyone is more intelligent than you. You think a teacher is more intelligent than you. It's not true. Everybody has access to the same intelligence. It's all in the atmosphere around us. But whether you can access it or not is up, it's down to your level of focus, your level of concentration. And if you look again, Prosper, concentration and focus. They never teach you this in school. And why is that?
Then, I mean, what I know about focus is if you focus the rays of the sun from a magnifying glass so much onto a piece of paper for long enough timeline, you will actually start a fire.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But people are so distracted with Netflix, internet, phones, music, jingle jangle all the time. So they're always distracted. They never have a chance to focus. They never have a chance to go deep and concentrate on a subject long enough because they're always distracted by this shiny object, this distraction, this food, this notification on the phone, this social media, ping pong or whatever it is, this sport or this game or whatever. But that's the plan, to distract you so you can't focus.
I don't know if the Netflix for in London day is the same as the Netflix here in Melbourne. Because the one here, it only gives you 15 seconds to decide what you're going to be doing with the rest of your life. So you can only imagine, pretty much after that, you just have to sit, and then your phone, is handy for you to order Uber Eats. The only thing you can do is just get up and then pick something up that has been delivered to your door. So you can only imagine life has become convenient.
Yes. Absolutely.
So obviously you went on, you were asking all these questions, and in the process, you discovered where you are right now. But this didn't happen by itself. What sort of life circumstances led you to then invent the 3-3 method? And I know the pandemic was part of the ushering of this methodology.
Absolutely. So when you study metaphysics and you study electromagnetism, you begin to experiment with it on yourself, on your own body. So instead of me spending time with TV, books, books are okay, but TV, radio, newspapers, I completely cut that off, because the kind of news they report is not really healthy for you anyway. It doesn't enhance your positive mindset at all. And you always hear contradictory evidence in the newspaper. One day a scientist says grapefruits are the best thing for you. Next day they say it causes cancer. So I'm like, forget this. This is silly. So I studied breathing methods intensively for years. And then I begin to understand how the nerves, the body organs are all influenced heavily by the breathing mechanism, by the quantity of life force or air you breathe, how much you can hold it, how much you can use the rhythm of breath, and influence your brain, influence your lungs, influence your organs. But you have to study it very carefully, and then you begin to see that you're strengthening yourself from within. For example, I've not been to a doctor for 22 years. I've not taken medicine for 22 years. I've not been to a hospital, had an X-ray or an ultrasound or an MRI for 22 years. And people always ask me, how do you do that? I never, ever go to the doctors. They're angry at you that you never go. So I don't need to. Because I take all this electric energy, which is in the atmosphere, and I pull it into my system myself. It's better than going into a miserable hospital with all these people, with all respect, coughing and spluttering and looking miserable. Who wants to be around that? Right?
My experience with energy in the atmosphere has been static electricity. When you rub yourself with a balloon or something like that, and then it goes right. So is that part of what you're talking about, and
Correct.
how all of...
Correct. So the question is, yes, you can rub the balloon and you get that static electricity. Sometimes your hair stands on end. But the point is, how do you pull it into your system to benefit from it? What will happen to your brain, your mind, your nervous system and your immune system? As I said, I'm not just showing people, I don't get sick, look at me, how healthy I am. No, I'm teaching this to everyone so they can do the same as what I do. So they don't need doctors. They don't need medicine. They don't need hospitals. They don't need endless tests and diagnostics where they're worried about what the results are going to be, waiting 8 months for a referral to some department and you don't know what's going on and everything's delayed. And it's a nightmare. I mean, who wants that? You know, when you look back on your life and you're 80 years old or you die, you say, yeah, I spent 5 years of my life messing around with hospitals, doctors, medicines, and it still didn't work. Who wants that?
I don't know if you, I mean, maybe because you met the avatar, you've never really had a splitting headache, you know what I mean? One that really gets you to start questioning your own existence. All right. You know, those kind of headaches that a lot of people say they are having. So you're saying, you know, if somebody experiences something like that, not to take an aspirin or something of that nature.
Well, you have to be, you have to be smart. You don't want to be too extreme, especially when you don't know about these laws, these electromagnetic properties. So it takes time, it takes experimentation. It didn't happen for me overnight. I had to experiment for years intensively to come to these conclusions. But the truth is, the great thing is, people don't need to wait for years. If they follow our method, they can get the results within minutes. As long as they are willing to try it and feel experientially. Oh, I see. I'm in flow state. My monkey mind has gone. I can sleep deeply and easily. Wow. Because we work with the brain directly. We release endorphins from the brain, which are pain-relieving hormones. We release dopamine, serotonin, which are feel-good, happy hormones. We also release what's called anandamide. A lot of people don't even know what anandamide is. Have you heard of that?
That's the first time I'm hearing this right now. So
yeah. So anandamide comes from the Sanskrit word bliss. Humans have a bliss molecule in their brain. Yeah, but they never know how to access it.
So in essence, a lot of people take up exercising, or maybe things like swimming, lifting heavy weights, gym, sport, or things of that nature. And they are running around, they're breathing, then they get tired, they come back home, take a shower, and then sleep.
Yeah.
Is there anything more to that? Like, I mean, seriously, that's how I have always understood that if you really want to have a good night's sleep, go run around the park for a little bit, throw a football here and there. Something is going to happen. You're going to get tired. And that's a good night for you there.
You see, that's true. That exercise is fantastic. Absolutely. Even a half-hour vigorous walk every day is amazing. You'll keep a lot of diseases from forming because you keep your bloodstream alkaline. How does it happen, Prosper? Here's the interesting thing. The reason why you feel so good after you do exercise, whether it's swimming, jumping, running, basketball, walking, whatever it is because the process of respiration, right, creates a release of brain hormones. But people never tell you that directly. They're always kind of beating around the bush on this subject. Right, but that's the truth. Respiration releases all this cascade of wonderful brain chemicals into your bloodstream. That's why you feel good. That's why you feel relaxed. That's why you feel harmonious with everyone. You just feel good because you've got that chemical release going through your blood. But then you have to exercise daily, really, to be, to optimize yourself. Like 30 minutes a day is perfect. 30 minutes a day, 45 minutes a day, an hour if you want to build your body and go weight training, fine. But it's really the process of respiration that signals these brain chemicals to be released that helps you feel so good. But why not work on the breathing directly, respiration directly, and get that benefit without having to always be outside thinking that you have to exercise vigorously? You don't always have to do that if you understand the process of respiration directly.
Oh, absolutely. But now you raise a good point because I could be sitting here on my TikTok and I could be jumping to a lot of conclusions because all the videos are like 5 seconds long, and that's good enough exercise, isn't it?
Well, I don't think it gets your heart and lungs breathing enough that you're going to release anything in your brain that's going to make you feel good. So it's probably not most ideal thing. Yeah.
So obviously you've done and studied this for a while. Maybe we can just jump into it, because you've then gone on and coached relationships for 15 years, right? And studied yoga and Vedanta. And how does that sort of wisdom shape the 3-3 breathing now?
Well, I was always looking at ways to simplify it, because when I would teach in the pandemic, as you mentioned, there were a lot of women who were upset that the relationships were not going well. They would send me all the WhatsApp messages. Oh, Raj, this is what he said. What should I say? Da, da, da. So relationships coach, I had to help them navigate these problems. And I would say, look, you're worrying for nothing. You're getting too stressed for nothing. You're too anxious. You're too over emotional. Relax. But it's no good just telling them to relax. That doesn't do anything. You need to put them through a process where they can regulate their nervous system, regulate their emotions, self-regulate, basically. So I would show them some methods, and they would do them when they're with me on the Zoom call or the coaching session face to face. But then when the problem would come up and they're in their own space again, they would panic and start getting flustered. And Raj, what shall I do? What shall I do? What shall I? I said, you remember you did the breathing method? They all say yes. It worked, right? Yes. So why don't you do that in your own space? Oh, I forgot. It's difficult. I can't remember. It's not part of my lifestyle. The same thing with everyone. Doctors, lawyers, teachers, they still won't do it, right? So I set about doing a simple method, something so simple that anyone can remember it. And that's where the 3-3 Metaverse Breathing Method came up. Simple, soft, gentle, reliable, consistent every single time. It does work. And it works with people as young as 5 all the way up to 85 that we've tested. So
that's interesting. Now, you call it the Metaverse Breathing Method, and obviously the kind of metaverse that we sort of know has all to do with scrolling and being an avatar in a place where you think you're not. Well, can you maybe take us away from the metaverse tech to the actual ancient breathing practice that you're
Correct. That's a great question. The real metaverse is within yourself. It's within your mind, which is infinite.
It's
so when
not
we
on
say
Facebook.
No, it's not on Facebook. It's not on Facebook. It's not out there. It's in here. You don't need to worry about what's out there. Everything is within yourself. So when you do this breathing method, it puts you quickly into an altered state of mind, where you now have access to parts of your brain and your creativity that you never saw before. When you do it regularly and you're talked to it through a coach, like one of our coaches or myself or whoever, who know this method, it gets you into a flow state where you're very calm and peaceful with yourself. And all this kind of creativity starts to bubble up like a fountain from within yourself. So, when you're in creative flow, you're in this kind of synchronization where you cannot be disturbed and you love everything because you're in that flow state. Is constantly creative. You see new ideas of new ways of doing things. You're delighted constantly, right? When you're in flow state. So this method helps you get into flow state and to stay synchronized to your own brand of creativity, shall we say.
Interesting. Now, you did mention there are other coaches that obviously work with you and things of that nature. I would like to venture and think they were not exposed to, the avatar that you were exposed to. Now, how did they marry that, especially if they're a Western coach and how did they then able to guide people in a way that, showcases the different methodology? If you get what I mean there, yeah.
Yeah, I do. That's a brilliant question, Prosper. And the thing is, you'd have to compare paradigms. For example, you'll say in the Western world, they say, this is good for you. For example, you can eat meat or you can drink alcohol. In the yogic paradigm, they say, no, you should not eat meat and you should not drink. And why? Because when you drink and eat meat, they say that it interferes with your energy field. And when you interfere with it, it's confusing and conflicting. So you want to eliminate all of those unhealthy habits or destructive habits as far as possible, so that you become a clean or a purified, let's say, receptacle for more and more creative, positive, constructive energies. So we become like conduits for transmission of great ideas to help ourselves, make ourselves delighted as well as other people. So they didn't understand. They didn't understand what I was saying. But then when they go to the books, all the classic books of wisdom and everything, they say, oh, yeah, but it's true, though. Everything you're saying is based on principle. I said, yeah, it's not about me. It's about the principle.
It's from source, you know.
Correct.
So you've gone on and helped insomniacs sleep, anxiety sufferers stay calm, and even people with ADHD, like you were saying earlier on, to really gain focus. Maybe, obviously, you had an experience with the avatar, but does this actually work on humans?
Totally. Totally. The new wave of medicine, look carefully. I told you before we had this conversation, I said, look, we're breaking up the old guard, the old status quo. Changes are happening. They're coming. Tsunami waves of change are coming. Why? As the avatar said, I don't want my children to suffer, meaning us adults who have children of our own, he doesn't want us to suffer. So in order not to suffer, you need to know things that you don't currently know, right? So changes on the horizon, big changes. You thought the tsunami, sorry, I say tsunami, the pandemic, you thought that was big? There's bigger changes coming.
Oh,
There are
wow.
bigger changes. Yes, bigger changes coming, but of a positive nature. Not they don't have to cause a whole load of chaos. But in the universe, you see, there's always some level of chaos before stability comes, and then there's chaos again before stability comes. It's like cycles, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you need to understand those things that do not change in order for you not to be affected by chaos.
Absolutely. As long as the cycle is not going as fast as what do you say? It was Jupiter that goes at 14.
47,000 kilometers per hour. Yeah.
I would want to get off that that cycle right there. But on your website on Fit Kingdom, I think you say that rhythm instead of force is future energy management. Can you maybe walk us through why rhythm? Why not maybe deeper breathing?
You see, what we can do, we can go through a minute process so you can actually feel what I'm talking about. Would
Right.
you like to feel?
Absolutely. Does your insurance cover for when I pass out or things of that nature? Because somebody has to keep running the show, right? Okay.
No, we've done it with hundreds of people, doctors, therapists. No one's passed out yet. So I think
Yeah.
we're.
See, because I bought a book on self hypnosis, right? And every time I found myself in hypnotize myself. So all right.
Okay,
Gotcha.
so this is also Prosper. This is going to experientially answer your question because you asked a fantastic question about why don't you just do deep breathing,
Mm,
right? Now I'm going to show you why rhythmical breathing, getting into rhythm and flow, is superior to just deep breathing.
okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so we're going to do. I'll show you. So what you do is you first check your nostrils by blocking one and breathing in and out of the other one a few times, and then do the other side. And would you say the flow is 50-50, or is one a bit more open than the other? Is it 50-50, or is it 70-30, or 60-40? What would you say the ratio is?
Oh, I wasn't.
Oh, yeah, just check. Mine's 50-50.
Oh, this one draws a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's the other one's a bit blocked then, is it?
Okay. I think now we're at 50-50.
Okay. Okay, good. And Prosper, on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 means you feel terrible and 10 means you feel amazing, what would you say you feel right now?
I always feel good, so I'm not sure where that would go, but
Roughly, just overall.
I'm at an 8 right now because I'm a little bit anxious. I mean, we're recording this. You never know what's gonna come out, you know. So, but
Yeah, you could rest assured it's only going to be good things that come out of this. All right. So what we do, we breathe in 3 parts through the nose like this, and then 3 times out of the mouth like this. And there's an elongation on the third exhale out of the mouth to activate the vagus nerve. That's more like ha, ha, like open, yeah, like ha from the throat. It's like this: sniff, 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 ha, 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 but without the vocal cords. Ha, 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 ha. You got it? Okay, now what we're going to do, nice, gentle, rhythmical, no force, no pressure. Now, I already can see that you're starting to feel some gentle effects in your physiology. We'll do this for a minute together, okay, with the eyes closed, and then I'll talk you through what happened, okay, and ask you some questions. Okay, you ready? Okay, 3, 2, 1, and go. Okay, you can stop there. Keep the eyes closed, Prosper. Just gently relax and observe what's happening within. Just relax. Keeping your eyes closed, Prosper, tell me what you notice and how you feel.
I always gravitate towards gratitude, and I just love where I'm at right now.
You say gratitude, yeah?
Mm.
Okay. So do you feel any mild sensations around your brain, around your prefrontal cortex, or anywhere between the eyebrows, anything like that?
Yeah, it's like some mild tink, like
Yeah.
yeah, tightness. That's just
Hmm. And has your heart rate slowed down a bit?
I can hear it.
Hmm. Is it in a nice steady rhythm, calm, or yeah? The mental chatter, the monkey mind that plagues a lot of the modern world. Have you noticed that decrease a bit?
My monkey got the jail sentence a long time ago, bro.
It's basically quiet now. It's like still.
That's why I can hear my heartbeat.
Yeah. And do you feel like your mind has kind of taken on an expansive awareness bigger than your body? Like you get a sense of kind of growing awareness. Do you get something like that? Yeah. How does that feel for you?
It's like you can't contain the container, you know?
Is it, it's like releasing your mind from the confines of the body, right? Something like that. Would you agree? Or,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. You said you felt an 8 out of 10 earlier. What would you say you feel now?
Do you see the smile on my face? It's just bliss.
Yeah. Did you say a 9 maybe, or what would you say? 10 or what?
10.
Okay. And are you surprised how quickly this worked? I mean, you only did it for 60 seconds.
It's a bit scary though, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah,
now
but
I'm in this state where I don't know if we still need to continue with the call. I'm good now.
but do you feel that sense of it's happened fairly quickly? Like it just took 60 seconds. Does that feel? Are you surprised at how quick that was?
I think information changes situations.
Mm,
Surprise is
mm,
not the word, but now as a newfound knowledge that that can be done, and you know, something like
mm,
that. Yeah,
mm. And do you feel like you're in a flow state?
I'm gonna need to come back to the show.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. No worries. Okay. Please do.
Thank you.
You
Mm.
know,
And you're absolutely right. If things like this were open to the world, people would operate in a whole different way, if you know what I mean. And I really appreciate you taking me through this. So what we just went through, can you maybe just explain this to the viewer and somebody who's listening right now, just so they can have an understanding of what just happened?
sure. Sure. So as you asked a question, which is very, very, great question about why not just deep breathe, breathe deeply. But a lot of
Mm.
people we work with, they breathe deeply, but they still don't feel this state that you're in, flow state. And now you can see why when people are struggling to sleep, they do this method, even if they've been insomniacs for 5, 10, or 15 years, taking melatonin and meds and Zopiclone, and they fall asleep within 30 to 90 seconds. They just drift off. And they're like, what happened? I said, you released cascade of hormones from the brain into your bloodstream. That's what happened. And they're like,
Mm.
oh my.
That's quite interesting. Now, what's your typical daily routine now, and how do you sort of personally integrate this? Because now I'm actually just thinking this could be something that you could be doing while you're waiting for the kettle to boil. This could be something that you could do while I was joking earlier on about how Netflix gives you 15 seconds to decide what you're doing with your life and things like that. But in
Yes.
between, you might be going from one thing to another. You're working and you can actually just maybe do a 60-second
Yeah.
thing
Research.
like that. How do you personally integrate the 3 and 3 into your sleep, your mindset, and your coaching?
That's it. That's such a beautiful question because if you look at the example of the great avatars and the Buddhas and the Zen masters, they stay in flow state all day. We're supposed to stay in flow state all day long because it's a pleasant, gentle, creative, harmonious state. It's our natural state, actually. It's our natural state. This state you're in now, that's how you should be all the time. But now you've got the key of how to do it. Whenever you get out of whack, out of synchronized, and you're feeling agitated and upset, just do this breath method for a minute or two, and you'll get back into the parasympathetic nervous system, rest, digest, healing, flow state. And everything is calm again, quiet, peaceful. You don't want to agitate that state. You want to stay there. So we stay in flow state with breathing methods all day.
That's pretty amazing. And you were talking about how people are constantly in freeze, fight, flight mode because of news and whatever inputs that are coming in. I was only just joking about the TikTok thing, but so many people are caught up in that loop. And the one thing about that particular platform is you only get 5 seconds to tell a story. So what is happening in people's heads is an open loop. A loop opens and nobody closes it. Another loop opens, nobody closes it. So they have maybe 300 open loops. They don't know what happened to that guy who fell off the table. Is he okay? Did the ambulance come in time? You're already watching another guy running across the field. You know what I mean? What was chasing him and things of that nature, So is this the reset that maybe is needed once in a while?
Actually, you're right. All these open loops, they're all distractions. They're all designed to keep you away from your state of focus and harmonious being within yourself. So, as you said, freeze, fight, flight. When you're in the sympathetic nervous system, everything is go, 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 rush, rush, rush. You've got to keep busy, and you lose yourself in like just craziness, like just endless activity, cortisol, fear, adrenaline, and so on. So you have to get back into the parasympathetic nervous system in order to dial in your mind and heart and get in alignment. So you're right. You have all those open loops, but if you do this method, it's like a way to reset yourself quickly. So
absolutely. All right. So I went on and saw my own avatar, and obviously. And obviously this one is not going to tell me everything that has been happening in my world and things of that nature.
There you go. It's an avatar.
Absolutely. So for those that haven't gone to see an avatar, maybe they can come around and see you. Where can they find you on the internet and maybe get to learn a little bit more about your journey and what it is that you're doing?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm open to share it with as many people as possible, because when the avatar affected me so much, because I was right there in his presence and being right next to him, and it's just unbelievable. So I do a lot of Zoom calls, coaching calls, corporate, one-to-one, deep dive, transformations. But best place to go, Prosper, is keepfitkingdom.com. Mm-hmm. And on there, there'll be a tab that says the 3-3 method, 3-3 Insomnia hack. It's also known as that. And people can go on there. There's testimonials from NHS, Oracle, the software company, Novartis, Philips Electronics, and so on. There's so many psychotherapists from around the world. You can read the testimonials, watch the videos. They can ask us questions via WhatsApp, via the website, or via email. There's a course on there. It's just $97 at the moment, which is an introductory course, to give them the information on how to do this method properly and how to apply it. So it's pretty incredible what's in the package there.
Absolutely. I'll make sure that all those all those links are in the show notes so that people can, get around to getting to learn, because information really does change situations. Now, Raj, we went from, 3-year-old Raj, discovering the world and things of that nature. And now, we've made our own avatars along the way and things of that nature. What's next? What are you working on that we can be excited about, now that you've brought us into your world?
Well, one of the big missions we have is to make insomnia like a thing of the past. So we're looking to eradicate insomnia from the planet. It's 800 million people with insomnia globally. That's 10% of the world's population. With our method, where there's no drugs involved, there's no doctors involved, there's no complicated psychotherapeutic analyses involved or diagnostic tests involved at all, no side effects at all. So we want to use this, help people understand the new wave of medicine is energy, and that you can apply it to yourself, that you don't need to worry about all these external tests and fearing what might or might not come up. You can put that aside now. And we want to eradicate insomnia from the planet. So that's the mission.
Absolutely. What I didn't hear there, Raj, was, how big is your army? Because if there is that amount of people not sleeping, somebody's getting paid for that.
Yeah, it's a big one. It's a big question. I know. But people are more, since the pandemic, people are more looking to wellness and holistic lifestyle approaches, like rather than medicine. Because now the wellness industry is worth around $6 trillion, whereas Big Pharma is only worth $2 trillion now. Because people say, you know what? We've been seeing our relatives taking medicine. Nothing ever changes. We're doing something different now. We're going to change our diet. We're going to exercise regularly. We're going to go on yoga retreat. We're going to do sound bowls. We're going to do breathing. We're going to do Wim Hof. We're going to do more things that conduce to your wellness overall. So there's definitely a shift happening in the world. So there is a big army, I agree. But then again, people, I think, will always go towards natural. I think that makes so much more sense. To enjoy your life. Don't waste your time with things that are going to bring you fear, worry. Why would you waste your life like that? Right? If you can do it the other way, be happy and have more abundant energy and joy for your family, for your kids, for the world.
Absolutely. Now, Raj, I can't thank you enough for the time that we spent on the call. And not only that, the personal gift that you've actually just passed on to me, that in 60 seconds, I can literally reset and not have to, maybe do something or just go through the motions of life, without actually being in control. So I think this is something that a lot of people might have needed to experience or see, happening. So thank you so much for the work that you're doing, man.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. I saw that you were in the flow state. You were very happy. I mean, I could see the smile on your face was incredible. So results speak for itself, right?
Absolutely. And for those that are watching right now, I mean, if this episode resonated with you, or someone who has always been staying awake, fighting the night, especially, I encourage you to check out the 3-3 Insomnia Hack that is linked in the show notes. And it's also available via Keep Fit Kingdom at keepfitkingdom.com/33. I'll put that link in the show notes. Okay. And it's things like this that we showcase on the Online Prosperity Show. So do not, if you just tuning in and joining us for the very first time, be sure to subscribe, because you do not want to miss out on life-changing advice like this. And if you maybe have been curious about breathing or focus or healing naturally, just reach out to Raj. I think he'll be more than happy to have a chat with you, like I said, on his Zoom calls. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, stay prosperous, stay present, and show the world your best rested self. Bye for now.